It's me. It's Saturday. And you know what that means. Oh, oops. Now, immediately following this live stream, what I'm going to do is I've got a video that I'm going to upload, that I'm going to do. I'm going to do a video, a movie review video, and it's going to be Christmas related because I'm going to be reviewing a Christmas movie that I recently watched. Can't wait for you guys to see that. It will premiere on my channel tomorrow, but I'll upload it tonight as soon as I can. As soon as I can tonight, just so some of you guys have time. But that is what it is. That's what's happening after this live stream. I'm going to do a video. It's going to premiere on my channel tomorrow, 6 o'clock. So hope you guys are there for it. And you know why I'm here, so let's get on with the show. I'm using my phone stand, my new phone stand that my friend got me from Facebook. But also I'm having problems with my laptop. It's not working, so I don't know what to do with it, so I'm just not using it today. But hey, let's get on with the show. You guys know why I'm here. Why not just put my hat backwards? For some reason, I just feel like doing that. I know it seems kind of weird, but hey, I like doing it that way. But hey, you guys know why I'm here. It's Monday Wrestling Week interview podcast / live stream, and apparently this is number 70. Gosh, I've done 70 of these. I don't know how, but I've done 70 of these, and I'm so glad that I'm doing these because I like doing these live streams. I like going live. I like being able to talk to the people that subscribe to me and all that jazz. I currently am looking at getting 500. My goal right now, as of right now, as far as my subscriber count, is to get up to 580. Right now, I'm setting goals for myself. Like every time I reach a certain goal, then I'm like, okay, now I want this certain number of subscribers. I'm currently at 567, which is pretty good for me. Which I think for this channel is pretty good. And I'm hoping to get to 580 now, which I'm now 13 away. That's, any help is most appreciated. I thank the one person that has liked this live stream. Anybody that's just now coming in, if they want to hit that like button, it's never required, but I do appreciate it regardless. Now let's start the show, this live stream off. Monday Night Raw. I'm hoping to get this live stream done within at least an hour and 10 minutes tops. But the show starts out with Monday Night Raw. Obviously, that's how the show usually starts out, with Monday Night Raw. The week starts out with Monday Night Raw. CM Punk. He opened the show. He had some more things to say about the guy who seems to have nothing but hate for him as of late, Seth freaking Rollins. At one point, even Seth Rollins himself decided, you know what, I'm just gonna get involved in this, and I'm gonna interrupt things. I'm gonna interrupt his little promo and just say my piece. He talked about basically the same stuff that he's always talked about whenever CM Punk comes up, about the fact that he left, how he left, and how he left everything, and how he tried to bring his company down, and this and that, and how when CM Punk left, Rollins had to carry the WWE on his back. Well, he didn't do it himself all alone. He had a bunch of people doing it with him, carrying this company on their back with him. But I guess he likes to. I guess for the purpose of this storyline, he has to be the one who carried WWE on his back once CM Punk decided to just up and leave, and all because of creative that WWE had for him at the time was not what he wanted. So he was like, you know what? If WWE's not going to give me what I want, fuck this. I'm leaving. I don't really know who I side with more on this situation, whether it's CM Punk or Seth Rollins. I see both of their perspectives, and I'm like, both of them seem to have valid arguments. I mean, CM Punk, he basically thinks that Seth Rollins is just a hater, and you can see why that would be the case. Maybe why CM Punk would think that Seth just hates him for literally no reason. But then Seth seems to have some valid reasons as to why he doesn't like CM Punk, or as why he hates him. But hey, eventually they brawled, which is what I expected to happen, obviously. Now, after this, though, we went back. After this, we were backstage. We went to a commercial break, and then after we came back from commercial break, we went backstage. We were backstage. Seth Rollins was walking, I guess, backstage, and Adam Pearce just went after him, yelling at him like, what was that? Like, can't you guys ever just stop trying to tear each other apart and let me do my job? And then Seth's like, yeah, do your job. I wonder what that job means. Like, what he means by do your job. Yeah. Then all of a sudden Drew McIntyre comes out of nowhere and just starts talking to Seth, talking about how when push comes to shove, they are not that much alike, not that much different, because they both have a hatred for the bloodline, and how they both don't want to see Roman Reigns back in power. And so Drew decided, maybe I can recruit Seth Rollins to help me take out the bloodline. Seth Rollins told Drew that, newsflash, dummy, I already did. I already took out the bloodline at WrestleMania. I helped Cody take Roman Reigns out of power. And so, sorry, but I don't need your help anymore. Sorry, but I don't want to help you. I don't need to help you. Help yourself. So then we go backstage to the Judgment Day. Finn Balor, they're all there. They're all talking about the stuff that they have going on tonight, whereas Raquel has a match in the Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament, first round match. Finn Balor and Jade Brenner are conversing about their tag team title match. Liv Morgan starts talking and starts mocking Finn's, I guess, saying nowadays, where if you listen to Finn, you win. She won, but she was like, why didn't that work for Finn? I mean, you listen to Finn and you win. Well, shouldn't Finn have won? Yeah, well, Finn Balor is not exactly happy that he lost on Saturday's night main event, which I did watch, and it was really, really good. We saw WWE superstar. We saw a lot of legendary WWE superstars, and this and that. I really enjoyed watching it this past Friday, and so hopefully they will continue to keep them on NBC. Although I might, every now and then, maybe if they do show one, I might watch it on Peacock, because it was on NBC and Peacock. But I loved it. It was great. We saw Jesse the Body Ventura on commentary again during the Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes match. It was pretty good. So I'm excited for the ones that we got coming up, especially the one that's in January. I think January. So it should be good. But yeah, this backstage segment and then Dominic, Raquel, and Liv left the backstage area because Raquel had her match next. That's what we got. That's what we got next was a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Women's Intercontinental Championship Tournament, with the finals taking place on Raw's Netflix debut. Here we have Kayden Carter, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez. Didn't know who was actually going to win this match, but I knew it was going to be Kayden Carter, so I figured it's going to be either Raquel or Zoe, and in a refreshing twist, they had Zoe Stark pin Raquel Rodriguez, which was nice. Nice to see Zoe actually get a win. And so I could totally see her being at least in a semifinals match. But hey, it is what it is. Oh, well, thank you to the second like. Thank you to the second like. I appreciate that. And this match went about 8 minutes. Wasn't anything totally special, but it was good. And Zoe got the win, so excited for her. And she moves on. Then we get another backstage segment with Seth Rollins. He's being interviewed by, I think it's Kathy Kelly and Adam Pearce. Talking. He talked about CM Punk. Obviously, he talked about CM Punk as always. And then it looks as though and then out of the corner of your eye, you can see Drew McIntyre, I guess, trying to sneak up on Seth Rollins. I don't know. Initially, I didn't know why, but then I realized. But then when I saw the backstage segment from earlier, where Drew asked Seth Rollins to help him take out the bloodline, and Seth told him no, I guessing he's like, "Oh, you don't say no to me, so I guess I'm just gonna have to take you out too." Even though you weren't part of the problem, But then out of nowhere, Sami Zayn just goes on and starts attacking him. So obviously they're not done with their feud. Isn't done quite yet, because Drew McIntyre is not going to be happy until every single member of the OG Bloodline, and maybe even potentially CM Punk, is out of commission, because after his match with Sami Zayn at Saturday Night's Main Event, he apparently posted on social media like a little message like 1 down, 4 to go. Obviously, the other 4 probably being the members of the Bloodline who were inside War Games plus CM Punk, obviously. Because obviously there were 5 people inside War Games, obviously Roman Reigns and the OG Bloodline and CM Punk, so that's probably what that meant. But hey, thank you guys for the likes. I don't know if I can see the chat or whatnot, but it's okay. The 2 likes, I appreciate the likes. And even if I'm talking to nobody, I'm going to stay live for as long as I can. After this, though, we got an in-ring segment. Liv Morgan is out there with Raquel and Dominic. She had a megaphone. Didn't know what she was going to do with it, but she immediately started talking and decided to use the megaphone to talk, because nobody was listening to Dominic, and no one was having what Dominic was saying. They were booing him out of the building. So she decided to use the megaphone to convey what Dominic was trying to say. Obviously, Rhea Ripley decided to interrupt proceedings, and she decided to have a message for Liv. She had a message for Liv, but Liv as always was like, "Oh, well, I don't think anybody cares what you have to say." And then, well, Rhea being Rhea is like, "Liv, shut the hell up," in the obviously that got Liv to be quiet. And then Rhea decided to drop the bombshell news on Liv, and that she talked to Adam Pearce, and he made it official. And he decided, and Rhea basically made it clear that this needs to end. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, good. It's a good thing that Rhea is acknowledging the fact that this feud needs to end, and it needs to end now. And then she decided to make the announcement that Adam Pearce made it official for Raw's Netflix debut, Rhea Ripley versus Raquel versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. And I'm sure that Adam Pearce is gonna have Raquel and Dominic banned from ringside, because that's the only reason why Liv has even retained the title as of late, except with the exception of Saturday night's main event, because she actually did beat Liv clean, which I was surprised. I thought we would have at least a moment with Dominic Mysterio or even Raquel trying to get involved in the match. But no shenanigans on that night. But I'm sure Adam Pearce isn't going to take any chances with this match. I wouldn't. I would just let them go one-on-one and just have a definitive winner and not have any shenanigans, because it makes sense to do it that way. To just do it that way. But yeah, and Rhea Ripley will win the Women's World title, and this story will end. Then after this, though, we go backstage, and the New Day are backstage, and they're about to go into the locker room. I guess into their locker room, but Rey Mysterio, who is in the locker room, opens the door and decides to not let them in. Like, what do you think? What do you think you're doing? This is the locker room. You're not welcome because of what you did to Biggie. You're basically the New Day, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston. They have now officially become basically persona non grata with the WWE locker room. Basically, I mean, it's not like they're not. It's not like It's not like Brock Lesnar's persona non grata status, where he just can't show up and can't show up at all. It's like the locker room does not want the New Day there. Hey, Aaron. I was wondering if I was able to see comments, because no one was commenting for the first 18 minutes, but now you showed up. So hey, and if any of you guys are just now coming in, want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. It's never required, but I do appreciate it. I say that all the time. But hey, it is what it is. We get, obviously, this is great. The New Day are obviously getting, Chiefs and Texans. Is that today? Was that today? Because I knew that the Ravens and the Steelers were today at 4:00 on Fox, but I didn't know that the Chiefs and the Texans were today as well. That's cool. I actually kind of hope the Texans win, because I would love to see the Chiefs actually lose for once, even though they actually have lost a game this year. I just feel like some people, and I wonder if you've heard what a lot of people are saying, calling Chiefs the worst 11-1 team. Oh, right. Well, I wonder if you've heard what people have said about the Chiefs being the worst 11-1 team in the NFL history. Like they're not playing nearly as good as they should be, yet they're still winning at times when you really think they should be losing. But then again, that's just the power and the magic of the Chiefs nowadays. They just always seem to win, no matter how bad they seem to get. They always seem to win. But it is what it is. Maybe they'll lose. Maybe the Texans will make a comeback, but that's a close game. After this, we got our second match of the night. We got Bron Breakker versus Ludwig Kaiser for the Intercontinental Championship. Obviously, I knew who was going to win this match. Bron Breakker. That didn't mean the match had to be bad. And it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a good match. Lasted about 13 minutes. It was actually a really good match. And so, hey, it is what it is. Bron Breakker retains. Good for him. Now on to bigger and better things when it comes to Bron Breakker. After this, though, we got a War Raiders video package. They had a message for the Judgment Day in preparation for the main event, which was to be the Judgment Day versus War Raiders for the World Tag Team Championships. It was what it is. What it is. Good video package. Good. I'm liking the fact that we got the War Raiders back, and as the War Raiders, not the Viking Raiders, because I feel like, or even this is War Machine. I would love that. I would love it if they came back as their NXT name, which was War Machine, if I'm not mistaken. But War Raiders, I'm okay with that. After this, though, we also got backstage Miz in the Final Testament. Miz decided that since they won against the Final Testament last week, that, you know what, he's done. They won against the Final Testament, and so now apparently apparently, according to Miz, it's all over with. We did what we wanted to do. We beat the Wyatts, and that's it. Well, apparently, according to Karrion Kross, it's not over with. It's not over until he says it's over. So yeah, they beat the Wyatts, but that's not enough for him. That's not enough for Karrion Kross. Yes, he has to make the Wyatts suffer for what they did to Paul Ellering and to Scarlett. So apparently, we're going to be getting on this next upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw, we're getting Miz versus Dexter Lumis. And also Paul Ellering decided to be like, hey, I've now officially taken a bullet for you twice, and I've bailed you out of dangerous situations twice. So I think it's so you now owe me twice. So you owe me again. So this is obviously Miz is going to be in the Final Testament for as long as Karrion Kross says so. Miz as a heel, it's just better. It's better because I like Miz as a heel a lot better. Him as a babyface, it worked for a little bit, then it just got incredibly stale. And the moment with R-Truth was great at WrestleMania, but I'm pretty sure that was never supposed to be long-term solution. Okay, Awesome Truth holding the tag team titles, I have a feeling that was never supposed to last as long as it did. But we got the Judgment Day taking the titles off of them, which on paper seemed like a good situation. But then they just stopped defending the titles altogether. And this was tonight was their third defense of the titles in as many times as they held them for over 100, I think it was 175 days, which isn't a bad amount of days to hold the titles, but just if they were defending them a lot more, it would have been like, oh, okay, well, now these, at least if they had defended the titles more, their reign may not have been so bad, or at the very least uninteresting or whatever, would have been more interesting. But hey, is what it is. Pete Dunne, we also got Pete Dunne back in the backstage segment. He is not happy about what happened last week with R-Truth beating him in no time at all, basically. Let's see. Yeah, no, it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And that match lasted no less than 2 minutes. It was a squash match. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. Well, Pete Dunne's not exactly happy about that, and so he decided, you know what, I'm gonna get a rematch. I'm guessing this is gonna lead to a rematch with Pete Dunne winning this time. So who knows? We also got Adam Pearce backstage. He made the announcement. He obviously made an announcement earlier, had an announcement earlier about the Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan match for the Raw Netflix debut. Also announced for the Raw Netflix debut, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. And from what I know, it is now set to be the main event of the show, which is interesting considering we also have tribal combat between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa scheduled for that Raw Netflix debut as well. So I'm like, whoa, okay. So if that's main eventing the show over CM Punk versus Seth, so if that match isn't main eventing the show, then I guess CM Punk versus Seth Rollins deserves it. Maybe they have the tribal combat match at the beginning of the show. But I'd say if the Rock's showing up at the Raw Netflix debut, I think you would want the Bloodline storyline, the main event, to show. But then again, this story between Seth and CM Punk is just as hot. This feud may eclipse Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk in terms of the level of heat that they will be able to generate. This may be an even bigger feud than Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and that feud was magma hot for months. Now on to the main event. Obviously, in the main event, we got the Judgment Day versus the War Raiders. This match went about 11 minutes for the tag team titles. At one point, it looked like the Judgment Day were going to cheat. Obviously, they brought a few chairs into the ring, obviously distract the referee. Finn went to get another chair from the timekeeper's area, but something was keeping him from doing that. And obviously, as we found out, Damian Priest was there to stop Finn from cheating. And so he basically cost Finn the tag titles. War Raiders got the win, pinning Finn Balor. So the Judgment Day have now lost the tag team titles, and Finn Balor was not happy after the match. We uploaded a little short video on their YouTube channel of Finn's reaction after losing the tag team titles, and he was so pissed. This is obviously going to lead to another match between Finn and Damian. Who wins that match? I don't know. This could also lead to Finn getting ejected from Judgment Day, because obviously every day it just seems like Finn Balor is becoming more increasingly frustrated with the rest of his teammates for not doing stuff the right way or not doing stuff his way. But his way doesn't seem to be working either. So it's funny. It's funny the way they're doing this. This could lead to Finn Balor getting ejected from the group, which would be interesting to say the least, actually, because I don't know whether Finn is ready to go on his own again. But hey, that was Monday Night Raw. It was actually a very good show from what I saw. So if I had to rate a Monday Night Raw this week, I would rate it a 7.5. Now on to Tuesday and NXT. NXT was live from Laurel, Massachusetts. I think it was Laurel, Massachusetts. I can't know exactly how you spell it. Laurel, Massachusetts, I guess. Close to Boston, but not quite. Not that far away from Boston, Massachusetts. So it was a little different seeing them it was interesting seeing them in a different place other than the Performance Center, because ever since I started watching NXT, that's the only place I've ever seen them is in the Performance Center 24/7. So it's nice to see them actually go out and go to places, go to other cities and other arenas, use other arenas. The opening match was Oba Femi versus Axiom. Last week we had a backstage segment with Nathan Frazier and Axiom where Axiom wanted to test himself, so he decided to go to Ava, and he got a match made with him and Oba Femi. Then Nathan Frazier confessed to Nathan that he wanted to prove himself to Axiom and prove that he's focused on the tag team titles. And so we decided to get a match made official between them and Gallus on the same night for the tag team titles. So I'm like, oh no, will they actually lose the titles tonight? Obviously, Oba Femi versus Axiom was the first match. Now, we didn't get the tag team title match immediately following this match, which I thought was the right move, because that would have been way too obvious. Like, you wrestled one match, now you gotta immediately go out and wrestle again. And Axiom's wrestling Oba Femi. This match lasted about 10 minutes, 30 minutes, a little over 10 minutes, 30 seconds. It was a really good match, though. I actually thought for a second maybe Axiom might win. But then again, it was Oba Femi. He recently just won the Men's Iron Survivor match. He kind of has to look strong going into New Year's Evil, which I think what they said was like January 7th, I think. January 7th, I think. From Los Angeles, so that's going to be a great show. We've also got Julia versus Roxanne Perez on that show. That should be good. We got this match, obviously, Oba Femi won. Congrats to him. So, hey, he has momentum going into the New Year's Evil show. And after this, we got a backstage segments with Eddie Thorpe. Eddie Thorpe was being interviewed. Oh man, 27-19. So the Chiefs got a field goal. It's not looking good for the Texans. Come on, Texans. You can beat them. You can beat them. Yeah, I figured that was a field goal that they got. Eddie Thorpe was being interviewed by Sarah Schreiber. I think it was Sarah Schreiber. Backstage in preparation for his main event match, which was against Trick Williams for the NXT title. I'll get on that. I'll get to that a little bit later because that was an interesting ending to the match. An interesting post-match that took place. Yeah, they do still have a slim chance. Then, I don't know, then Ava Rain, general manager, decides to interrupt the interview and just, oh, hey Aaron, can you see if anybody else, if you want to, you can share this live stream out on your channel. You can also see if anybody else wants to show it. If anyone wants to come on, because I'm starting to get a little bored, which is not that I don't mind, not that I don't like that you're here. I love that you're here, but I just would like some other people to be here. Ava came up to, I guess, to talk to Eddie. She didn't necessarily like what Eddie did, basically scamming his way into the NXT title match. But Eddie's like, well, no matter how it happened, I got the title match that I wanted, and there's nothing really you can do to keep me from getting this match because I already signed the contract for the match. So I don't know where this is going, where Eddie Thorpe's character is going. I'm guessing Eddie Thorpe is turning heel because I'm guessing he's just a little too tired of not getting opportunities and just. I thought it was pretty genius when he announced that he was the one to stage, where he said that he staged his own attack before deadline, just keep taking himself out of the match. He said it. he's probably not going to win. He probably was never going to win that match anyways. So he even admitted tonight in this interview, like, hey, I was probably never going to win the men's Iron Survivor match anyways, so why? I told myself I was probably never going to win, so why put myself through that just to get an NXT title shot when I can just take myself out of the match and then get a title shot the way that I did, which it got me a title shot, and now I got it. So I thought it was pretty genius. Then we also get a backstage segment featuring Shantae the Adonis. And I think it's Brindley Reese. I can't remember who he was with. No, it was Carmen Petrovich was backstage with Dion Lennox. I guess he'd helped Carmen Petrovich with some things. I don't know what it was, but they hugged at one point, and then Ashante the Adonis comes in and is like, bro, what are you doing hugging Carmen? Like, I like her. And then he walks away saying, I was telling you the truth when I said I didn't message Nikita Lyons, and when I hadn't talked with Nikita Lyons, but now maybe I will, because you don't seem to really like me very much. I don't know where this storyline is going. I don't know where this storyline is going. Do I really care? Actually, kind of don't. But it is what it is. Let's get on with the show. The second match we got today was on this NXT was Ren St. Clair versus Jada Parker. This all came about previous week because of an altercation backstage where Jada Parker basically said, oh, you should thank me because you wouldn't have been able to get in this match had it not been for me. You wouldn't have gotten into the Women's Iron Survivor match had it not been for me. Well, Ren St. Clair didn't exactly thank Jada. That led to this match. This match lasted about 4 minutes. Not necessarily a squash, but it wasn't necessarily a competitive match. Jada wins via the sweet hip check or whatever it's called. She just rams her hips and her booty into the face of her opponent, and she got the 3 count. So hey, congrats to her. Whatever. You guys know what I like to drink. Powerade Zero Sugar, the fruit punch flavor. I don't have any of the mixed berry flavor, so I've been drinking this a lot. I've been drinking this lately. After this match, we had a backstage segment. Tyreek Igwe and Tyson DuPont. They had a match last week against Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. Serious to say that I think it was Tyreek who was not happy after the match. Tyson was more than willing, I can't remember which one it was. One of them was willing to shake the hands of Hank and Tank. The other one was like, no, and decided to just walk away. He was like, dude, you can't expect me to just be nice to everybody and just shake hands like nothing's wrong. Like I'm not upset about losing. Like, it's all about checks and championships. Like, a lot of people say that. It's all about titles. It's all about collecting that paycheck and winning titles. And if you're not in the business of doing that, and if you're not in the business of doing that, then you really shouldn't be here. If you're just here to be respectful to everybody, then that's going to get you nowhere, because eventually you're going to get tired of being respectful to everybody and not having anything happen. Then Wes Lee comes in and is like, dude, I think you should be listening to what your friend is saying. Like, he seems to be making a lot of sense. Be honest, Moxley, I was wondering when you would show up. I was wondering when you'd show up, Mox, and you have. So, congrats on showing up and leaving in less than 10 seconds. And obviously, I thought it was actually pretty genius that Wes Lee was the one to agree with what Tyreek. I think it was Tyreek that was saying all this. So I thought it was pretty genius that Wes Lee, of all people, was the one to agree with Tyreek, the one person who actually knows what it's like to be frustrated with being in a tag team and feeling like doing things the right way gets you literally nowhere. I thought that was pretty smart. Pretty genius of them to have do that. Then we get a video package for Shotzi, Tatum, Paxley, and Gigi Dolan. Shotzi came back, I think she came back last week. Let's see, I think it was the week, I don't know, I think it was like the week before last. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago where well, I don't know, it was last week. That's it. I don't know. I think it was last week. We got last week. Tatum and Gigi took on the Fatal Influence. Obviously, Fatal Influence got the win, but not before were attacking Tatum and Gigi, but then Shotzi came out to lend a hand. So now it's 3-on-3. Now the numbers are even. We had a video package for them. Gigi basically talked about her time talked about obviously JC Jane and how she knows JC better than probably just about anybody, considering their time as Toxic Attraction. And I'm sure a lot of people right now are probably thinking of this new group Fatal Influence and thinking, is this not just a redo of Toxic Attraction, just without Mandy Rose and Gigi Dolan? It's now JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Jasmine Nix. And Fallon's really the only one in that group that's actually even somewhat good. I mean, we've hardly seen Jasmine Nix wrestle at all, so it's not like we actually know her as much as we know Fallon and JC. But hey, it is what it is. JC seems pretty convinced that Gigi is back for her, because it's the only reason. Because I guess according to JC Jane, that's the only reason why Gigi would ever get involved in her business ever again, is because of her. But I don't know. They could be leaning towards maybe either Shotzi or Gigi getting a shot at the NXT Women's North American title, which could happen. Don't know if it's going to happen, but hey. I'm guessing we're going to get a 6-woman tag match with these 6 women. Shotzi, Tatum, Gigi versus Fatal Influence. I'm guessing that's what they're leading to, obviously. Then we get this match. Then we get the second match for Axiom. Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus Gallus for the tag team titles. I did not know if they were going to have Axiom lose and Frazier lose the titles on this night. But apparently they were able to actually win the titles, and they were actually able to defend them successfully in what was actually a pretty entertaining match. Went about 10 minutes, and it was a really good match, though. I'm shocked that they didn't actually pull the trigger and have them lose the titles, because I was sure they would have. I was almost certain that they would lose. But they defended them successfully, so congrats to them. When they do lose the titles, I don't know. That's obviously up to NXT Creative, so we'll see what happens. After this, though, we got a video package on, I guess, the history of the NXT Women's Division. Roxanne Perez was a part of this. She will defend her title against Julia, Part 2, on the NXT New Year's Evil show, live from Los Angeles. So, and I'm sure that'll be on NXT. On CW, I will watch that. I'm guessing it's on a Tuesday. So I will watch that. And I fully expect Julia to win this time, even though I don't know why we're not having this match maybe at a Stand and Deliver, but I'm guessing they might have another match for Julia planned for Stand and Deliver. Who knows? But this was a good video package. After this, we went backstage. We were backstage. Javon Evans was backstage with Hank and Tank. Javon Evans was reminiscing about his first full year in the company, how he had a match with NXT champion, Ilya. Then in early 2024, he had his very first match, his first match in NXT against Ilya Dragunov, who was the NXT champion at the time. He main evented his first ever NXT PLE at 20 years old. He's 20 years old, and apparently, according to my history notes, according to what I know about NXT, that makes him basically the youngest NXT superstar to ever main event an NXT PLE/pay-per-view, which is amazing. And he was, quite frankly, the highlight of that match. They could have put the title on him. I knew he wasn't winning the title, but I thought, maybe he might steal the show. He actually did, and we all know what happened. Ethan Page won the title. Now, speaking of Ethan Page, at one point when these three guys were talking, Javon Evans, Hank and Tank, Ethan Page went by, sort of brushed past them. I'm guessing obviously on his way to the ring, as we saw, because up next we got a segment involving Ethan Page. He was out there talking to the NXT universe. He was not exactly, Chiefs win. Nuts. Great, Chiefs win. Congrats, Aaron, congrats. Ethan Page was out there talking to NXT Universe. He was not exactly in the best mood, considering his recent string of losses when it comes to the Men's Iron Survivor match, his match last week against Tony D for the NXT North American title. Yeah, they are. I think they do still have a winning record. But yeah, this yeah. He even referenced the famous Shawn Michaels segment from '97 where he claims to have lost his smile, which actually, considering what his character is, that he's all ego, and that the name of his theme song is "Kill It With a Smile." That was actually pretty brilliant of them to sort of go back to that and sort of pay homage to that segment. Considering his character, that actually was pretty brilliant of them to do that. Then, obviously, he also talked about his family and how it's hurting him to see his family seem disappointed in him and look disappointed in him for losing all the time, losing now, for him being on his losing streak now, losing the NXT title, losing the rematch at Halloween Havoc, and then losing the Men's Iron Survivor match, which he thought was the last chance he would ever get of what he thought was the last chance he'd ever have of getting another shot at the title. and then losing to Tony D last week, which I knew was going to happen, but I guess it was just to further develop his sort of storyline where he just seems like he just can't do anything right now. He's just losing all the time, and he hates losing, and he hates not being able to hold a championship because he feels like if he's not a champion, then who is he? Then he's just nobody. He's nobody. In his mind, he's a nobody unless he's a champion. It almost looked like he was going to maybe just say, like, hey, I'm just retiring, or at the very least, I'm leaving NXT. Then Javon Evans comes out, tries to give him sort of a pep talk. And then at one point, Ethan Bates just goes like, hey, you know what, Javon, you're right. I shouldn't be worried about losing my smile. And then, as any good heel does, he decided to immediately turn the tables, like, yeah, I shouldn't be worried about losing my smile. I should be worried about taking yours. And then he just starts attacking Javon Evans. Clever ruse, obviously. And then he brings in a chair, places it on around Javon's neck, and then just stomps on it, which then actually forces Javon Evans to start coughing up blood. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we may or may not have even seen a few of Javon Evans' own teeth come out of his mouth. Like, damn. And a lot of people were like, oh shit, this is actually real. This is actually pretty realistic. This looks pretty gruesome. And it looked pretty badass. And it looked pretty bad the way they did it. It actually looked pretty bad. So, there you are, Moxley. You are gone. Hey, Austin. If there are any of you that are just now coming in and you want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. Can we get this live stream to at least 5 likes? 5 likes at least. I will be happy if it's just that. I'm doing good, Austin. Having troubles with my laptop, but that's okay. I'll get over it. Then after this, we got a video package for Lexis King. Apparently, he is training. He's training. Oh, Mox, shut up. Get out of here. You're not welcome here, so get out. I'm already having enough problems today. I don't need you coming in here and raining on my parade simply because you don't like me. And no, my voice will not stop talking. I will continue to talk for as long as I want to, and you can't stop me. So, shut the hell up. We get a video package, and yes, it was probably fake, but it looked pretty darn badass. Lexis King, we had a video package for Lexis King training with Charlie Dempsey and the No Quarter Catch crew. Obviously, they have another match. Obviously, Lexis King is getting another match for the NXT Heritage Cup Championship. When that happens, I actually don't know, but it will happen soon within the coming weeks. So be excited for that match and see what happens. I think Charlie Dempsey's very good, and he's been a pretty decent NXT Heritage Cup champion. Then we get our next to last match of the night. Sol Ruca and Zarya, they took on Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. This all came about because of last week, another backstage segment from last week, in which Sol Ruca and Zarya were talking with each other post NXT deadline, and then Lash and Jakara were backstage, and they were like, why are you two talking to each other? Didn't you guys want to tear each other's heads off no more than a few days ago at deadline? This led to a match being made between the two teams, and now this match went about 10 minutes. It was actually pretty darn good, and the heels actually got the win, which I'm surprised that the so-called heels in Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend actually got the win. So, exciting for them. Because I almost assumed that Sol, Ruka, and Zarya would actually get the win here. So it was nice to see the heels win for a change. Then we get another video package for Stephanie Becker. She has a message for Cora Jade. She's not exactly happy about what happened last week when Cora and Roxanne decided to take her out. I'm guessing it was, well, maybe it was just Cora Jade because she plans on bringing Cora Jade to hell. Her words, not mine. So we'll see where that leads to. I'm guessing this is leading to a match. So it should be a good match because they're both really good. And obviously the main event, Trick Williams versus Eddie Thorpe for the NXT title. This match went about 9 minutes, 30 seconds. It was a decent match. The ending was actually it was interesting. The ending was interesting because at one point, Trick Williams, yes, it looked like he had he had pinned the referee, but at the same time, at the end of the match, two referees counted the pin, and so it was like 1, 2, 3. Okay, so does that mean Trick won? Because it looked like he was pinning Eddie Thorpe at the end of the match, but then by the end of the match, it was like the referees weren't sure who actually won, and so apparently it was a double pin and so apparently what happened was that it was a double pin. Both men had at least one shoulder that was down on the mat. And so apparently they called it a double pin, which means that Trick Williams retained his title anyways. But then after the match, and then after the show went off the air, they obviously WWE uploaded a little exclusive post-match moment where they were obviously out there. Eddie Thorpe obviously was not happy at all about what happened. I don't know who you are, but get out of here. And if you're Moxley, then go to hell, bitch. But yeah, and then even Shawn Michaels came out there to address the situation to maybe calm down Eddie Thorpe, and then Eddie Thorpe, out of pure frustration, just shoves Shawn Michaels, and I'm like, ooh, that's not good. You do not shove Shawn Michaels. That is not going to go well. I mean, Shawn Michaels is already upset with Eddie Thorpe for apparently putting his hands on Ava Raine, which I'm guessing they found out that didn't actually happen, but still, I'm like, uh-oh. He's already in enough hot water with Shawn Michaels as it is. You don't want to shove the guy. But that was a good episode of Tuesday of NXT. If I had to rate it this week, I'd rate it a 7. It was good, but hey. Yeah, you guys gonna be on Xana's naughty list for Christmas. You ain't getting nothing but coal in your stocking. Yeah. Look, I don't know who you are, but get out of here. You're not welcome, so get out of here. Yeah. Bye-bye, Daryl Wayne, whatever your name is. So glad you're here. Aaron. Then we go to AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite this week. Now, as far as AEW this week goes, AEW this week was surprisingly a good show. Yeah, you look like Steve Harvey if he actually had if his face was much fatter than it actually is. But AEW Dynamite this week was actually good. Was it great? No, not by any stretch of the means. The opener saw Mercedes Moné defend her TBS championship against Anna Jay. This match went about 7 minutes, and Mercedes Moné won. This was a simple title match. Didn't do anything for either women. In and out. Decent match, but it didn't do anything for Anna. And I'm guessing, I don't know what Anna Jay is going to be doing after this, but we will see. Then, after this, we go backstage with Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman Adam Page. They are getting ready for their match against the Death Riders. I'm guessing this was supposed to be I think this was the main event of the show. So, yeah, this was going to be the main event of the show. And Hangman Adam Page made it pretty clear to the other two members of his team on this, and it was tag team for this match, that I don't care who you guys decide to go after, just leave Mox to me. I get Mox, not you two. I get Mox. Okay? So he made that pretty clear that he's the one that's going to get his hands on Jon Moxley, and Jay White and Orange Cassidy better just forget about it. Yeah, this team is obviously doomed to fail. I mean, I can see Orange Cassidy and Jay White getting along, but obviously Hangman Page is not going to get along with these guys. Because isn't he supposed to be a heel? He's supposed to be a heel, right? And so why is he on a team that is basically consistent? And he's faced now Jay White twice on AEW pay-per-views, and just like, great. These troll accounts are now getting more and more creative with their names. But hey, they're leaving. That's it. That's the end of that. Then we get MJF. MJF, oh great. MJF shows up for the first time in let's say 3 weeks, basically. It's been maybe 3-4 weeks. Maybe it's been a month since we got MJF on AEW Dynamite in any capacity. Because most of what we've been seeing or hearing from MJF is just him being from somewhere remote. And I'm not to say that I don't like it. I just feel like if MJF's in a storyline with somebody, you might as well just show up every now and then to work instead of taking months off just because you don't like. Where AEW shows up every week, dude, show up to work, please. But yeah, MJF is going to have a match at AEW World's End later this month. I can't remember when exactly, but this match will take place. He's got a feud with MJF, with Adam Cole over the Dynamite Diamond Ring, but that's not what this feud is about. I don't know why they're even doing this match for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, because that's not what this feud is about. Just have this be just a simple grudge match, but hey, it is what it is. Does anybody really care? No. We want this feud to end, and we want MJF to go after bigger and better things. Not to say Adam Cole isn't good, but he's definitely not what he used to be in NXT. Standard MJF segment. He talks trash. Then Adam Cole came on the Titantron, much like MJF's been doing a lot recently, and had a message for MJF, but then turned the tables on MJF saying, I haven't kicked your butt yet. Then proceeds to go in and get into the ring, pretty much to make everybody realize, oh wait, that was just a pre-recorded message from Adam Cole, and that he was actually here just waiting for MJF to turn his back so he could attack him, which is usually what MJF does, which is an MJF move. Wait for his opponent to have his back turned so that he can get in a sneak attack. Well, it happened. Now that I know is Moxley. So, wow. The Trolls are getting better. Oh. I mean, as far as their names, the names of the troll accounts are getting more better, but they're still getting timed out and hidden by me. So, hey, it is what it is. After this, we got a video package from FTR. They are not happy about what happened past Saturday on Collision, where they got attacked, I guess, by the Death Riders. They are going to be at AEW's Fight for the Fallen show. I think it's January 1st in Asheville, North Carolina. I think it's Asheville, North Carolina. And they're going to have at least a backup, and they're going to have some backup with them on that show. People are already speculating that it's Adam Copeland because he lives in that area, and that's where AEW Dynamite will be on that week on that particular Wednesday. So, hey, it might actually be good, and I'm excited to see Adam Copeland back. Then obviously we got a tag team match: Christian Cage, Nick Wayne versus Hook and Katsuyori Shibata. 6 minutes. Didn't really need this match. It was an okay match, decent match. Didn't really need to happen, but it is what it is. 6 minutes, and it was good. Heels obviously got the win, as I assumed they would. It is what it is. Then we get a Chris Jericho. He was in New York. Obviously, he was in New York getting ready for his match against Matt Cardona to defend his Ring of Honor World Championship at Ring of Honor Final Battle, which happened last night. He defended the title successfully. Then Bandito apparently decided to make his return after the Learning Tree decided to do a post-match beatdown on Matt Cardona. Then Bandito shows up. So good that we got Bandito actually returning soon, after at least 2 vignettes now that we've seen of heralding his return, and now he's officially returned. When you return, say W Television, I don't know. Then we get this Tony Storm. So they sit-down interview with RJ City, Portrait of a Rock Star. So RJ is apparently a little perplexed. He doesn't know what's happening. I guess Tony Storm's character right now, I actually think it's pretty genius what they're doing with Tony Storm. Her character right now seems to have amnesia, and she does not remember anything that's happened since her AEW debut. So she's coming into AEW, so she's in AEW right now, thinking that this is her first time in AEW, and she just signed with the company, whereas she signed with the company no more than 2 years ago, two and a half years ago. So it is what it is. It was just actually pretty good, and I like this character. I like that it's actually different, and this could actually breathe new life into Timeless Tony, because this could obviously lead to Tony Storm eventually regaining her memories and eventually going back to Timeless Tony. And if this leads to another match, to a rematch between her and Mariah May, potentially at the Grand Slam show in Australia, with Mariah May, with her obviously main eventing the show and obviously winning the title back, I could see that happening. We will see where this goes. Mariah May gonna have a match with Thunder Rosa at the World's End pay-per-view again in a Tijuana street fight. That should be good. Then we get another Continental Classic match. We have another Continental Classic. Oh wait, no, we got after this though we got Ricochet. We got Ricochet in a segment. Where he is, I guess, wants to join the Hurt Syndicate. And long story short, the Hurt Syndicate are like, no, we rescind your offer. Our offer does not still stand. You're not welcome. And they made Ricochet look like a joke out there, and I'm like, okay, Ricochet, he's officially turning into a joke, and I don't know if this is just him. Now he's also seemingly starting to become more annoying and more overly cocky and obnoxious and annoying, and I don't know if that's what his character is now, or whether that's him sort of taking what the fans are saying about him right now and just running with it and like, oh, okay, if this is what you think I am, then that's what I'm going to be. Just annoying, overly cocky, and obnoxious. Not that it's good, but I think it's interesting that he's at least trying to, and I think he is trying to prove himself that he's got a personality, because I'm sure by now he's heard what everybody has said over the years, that he doesn't have personality, he's not this and that, and I think he's trying to prove to the fans now that he's everything that he says he is, that he's everything the fans are saying that he isn't. But I don't know where this is going. Obviously, I think it's going to lead to him turning heel. Whether he joins the Hurt Syndicate, don't think that's a possibility, but him joining the Don Callis family could be a good switch. After this, though, we got Shelton Benjamin taking on Beast Mortos in a Continental Classic match. This match lasted about 7-8 minutes, give or take, and Shelton Benjamin easily won this match. It was 7 minutes, so that wasn't so it was a decent match, about 7 minutes, so it was a decent match. Afterwards, Danny Garcia decided to come out, and he was like, immediately was like, hey, you know what? Look, I'm out here, but I'm not going to get into that ring because I've been here before. I know how this works. You three are going to gang up on me. And that's the stupid thing to do. MVP is like, yeah, that's pretty stupid. That would be pretty stupid. So he's basically agreeing with Daniel Garcia. But then Daniel Garcia surprisingly had backup in the form of Mark Briscoe. But obviously, even with 2-on-3, it just wasn't enough, and they just flattened. The Hurt Syndicate decided to just flatten everybody. In fact, MVP even whacked his cane over the back of Mark Briscoe, breaking it in half. After this, we got a Ricochet backstage. He was being interviewed by Renee Paquette, and he was talking about Jay White, about the segment from earlier with the Hurt Syndicate. Then Swerve Strickland comes out and just decides to just own him. Even at one point calls him by his real name of Trevor. That's his real name. Ricochet is obviously not his real name. And so I'm like, yeah, they're making Ricochet tonight look really stupid. Whether that's on purpose or whether that's because of the comments he said a few weeks ago, like maybe a few weeks ago when he said, without me, there is no AEW. I'm like, dude, I mean, you weren't even here when AEW was first formed, so I don't know why you're saying that. Or maybe he was just saying without his style of wrestling, AEW wouldn't be here. I'm like, yeah, but we got so many high flyers in AEW right now, many of which are doing basically almost the same things that you're doing, but they might be doing it a whole lot better, like Hologram. Before Hologram got, I'm guessing Hologram got injured because, but before he got injured, he was doing a lot of the same stuff that Ricochet is doing now, except Hologram was actually seemed to be doing it a lot better. So your point is mute, Ricochet. We also got another Continental Classic match. Darby Allin versus Will Ospreay. This was the best match of the night. 11 minutes this match went, and about 11 minutes this match went, and it was obviously the best match of the night. The show was actually pretty good, but this was just the best part of it. And so, and Darby Allin actually got the win over Will Ospreay, which I'm surprised, because Will Ospreay is one of their best guys, and he hasn't lost very many matches since coming into AEW. But this was actually pretty interesting that they actually allowed Darby to get the win over Will Ospreay. Now, obviously, tonight is AEW Collision, and Will Ospreay is supposed to take on Ricochet in a one-on-one rematch from their first encounter. This will be in the Continental Classic, and I'm almost certain that Ricochet is not winning that match. They're not going to have Will Ospreay lose back-to-back matches in the Continental Classic because he's one of the because when this bracket was announced, you would have immediately thought that Will Ospreay was a favorite. Him and Kyle Fletcher would have been the top two favorites to win this whole thing, besides maybe Kazuchika Okada, but he's not doing so well in this tournament so far. Even when he's won, it's been like, and he's even had a draw against Daniel Garcia. And then the main event, Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman Page versus Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Pac of the Death Riders. This match lasted about 11 minutes. Decent main event, much better than that opener from last week, I think, that went just about 20 minutes and didn't do hardly anything just to get a DQ finish. Yeah. But at the end of this match, obviously the heels won the match. I think it was the heels that won the match. So the baby faces tried to get some offense in on the Death Riders after the match. Jon Moxley then just gets out of harm's way with the help of Marina Shafir, and then obviously he starts smiling as it looks like the three men that were involved in that match on the opposites, the babyface team, looks like they were going to tear into each other again. So that's what he's obviously hoping. Jon Moxley's obviously hoping that his three opponents at World's End will just take themselves out before the match even happens. Well, that's obviously not going to happen. But it was AEW Dynamite was surprisingly good this week. I would give it a 7 out of 10 because it was actually good. And also, apparently, they moved AEW Dynamite this week was in a slightly smaller venue. So I think it actually worked better in AEW's favor. So it is what it is. Now on to SmackDown. SmackDown opened up with Solo Sikoa. Obviously, he's there to talk about Roman Reigns and the Tribal Combat match that they'll have at the Raw Netflix premiere. And so, January 6th. And so, it is what it is. This should be a great match. As far as who wins, I'm obviously going with Roman Reigns because this has to end with Roman Reigns getting the win. Now, whether this Tribal Combat match will happen the same, will be the same as the one that happened at SummerSlam 2023 with Roman and Jay remains to be seen, because tribal combat is supposed to mean, yes, anything goes, but there's not supposed to be any interference. But knowing WWE, they're gonna just forget about this like they did last time and just have the Bloodline just interfere all throughout this match. As if it's Bloodline rules. They might as well just make this Bloodline rules match, which is basically the same thing, except people can get involved. But in a shocking twist, Drew McIntyre came out to interrupt Solo Sikoa. He talked about how Solo Sikoa was the one who actually did prevent him from becoming Undisputed Champion, but that he's also torn because he's also proud of Solo for actually standing up to Roman. So he's like, do I take him out now or late or just wait? Because he's obviously not happy with the OG Bloodline for costing him a shot at the Undisputed title, and he's on a mission to take out every single one of them. And obviously Solo Sikoa, I was just wondering when he was going to actually go after Solo, because yes, he's a heel still, but it's like, but it wouldn't seem right if Drew just ignored the obvious of Solo Sikoa being the actual one to actually stop him from taking the title off him, because nobody else was there. It was only Solo Sikoa, but it doesn't matter to Drew because the rest of the OG Bloodline leading up into that match, it's all their fault. And so this was a great opening segment. I was completely surprised that Drew came out to confront Solo, but it made sense considering Solo's involvement with the OG Bloodline and being the one who actually cost Drew the match at the original Clash at the Castle. Eventually, this also led to the 6-man tag team match. LA Knight, Andrade El Idolo, and Apollo Crews take on the Bloodline 2.0. This match lasted about 11 minutes. Not bad match, though. So, about 10 minutes, and this match wasn't that bad. Led to, obviously, the Bloodline 2.0 won the match with Apollo Crews getting the pin. Getting pinned, which I knew was going to happen from the moment this match was announced. Because LA Knight and Andrade are more high-profile superstars who really shouldn't be taking pinfall losses all too often. LA Knight much more than Andrade, but still, Apollo Crews was obviously going to take the pin here, and he did. We got a Chelsea Green interview. She was being interviewed by Byron Saxton. She is now the first ever Women's United States Champion. She's very excited about this, and I know she should be because she deserves it. What's it? Basic Chelsea Green segment, talking down on the other women in the SmackDown division, and just basically taunts anybody to try and take this title away from her. Then after this, we get a message from Alex Shelley. He has some words to say about Johnny Gargano, who turned his back, I guess, on him in their tag team match a couple of weeks ago for the tag team titles. That DIY won. So he has a match. They have a match tonight. Alex Shelley versus Johnny Gargano. Also, we got Kevin Owens sending a message to the WWE Universe. This was basically just an extenuation of what Kevin Owens was saying for weeks and weeks and weeks, and that Cody Rhodes is the bad guy, I'm the good guy. Basically, I was cheated out of the title at Saturday night's main event, this and that. It was what it was. It was good. Also, we got the Grayson Waller effect. This was not good segment at all. But I guess it was okay to see Austin Theory and Grayson Waller on SmackDown for the first time in a long time, because I feel like we haven't seen them as of late. So good for them to be on the show. It wasn't a good segment though. With Braun Strowman, this eventually led to Carmelo Hayes coming out and be like, "Oh, you think Nick Aldis thinks he can thought he could humble me by putting me in a match with Braun Strowman without me knowing it, and like you can't humble greatness, and the only reason why you won last week was because I wasn't prepared, and so now that I am, I'm challenging you to another match tonight." And we got that match. It was actually a lot longer than the last match was. Last match, if I'm not mistaken, great, come on. The last match went about no more than like 3 minutes. 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, around that time. This match lasted over 4 minutes, so it was a little bit longer, but this match also ended in a count-out win for Carmelo Hayes when Braun Strowman decided to chuck Carmelo Hayes into the ring. But then, without knowing it, the referee had gotten to 9, and so by the time referee got to 10, Braun Strowman hadn't gotten back into the ring yet, so Carmelo Hayes won via countout. So it is what it is. That wasn't even a good match. So, ugh. But hey, it is what it is. Then Johnny Gargano. There wasn't much on this Friday Night SmackDown to begin with, much. So, also we then after this match, we got a Johnny Gargano message for Alex Shelley going into their match later on. So it was what it was. It was pretty good, decent stuff. A lot of these video packages / messages were actually pretty good last night. Then we go into the match. Johnny Gargano versus Alex Shelley. This match lasted about 9 minutes. It was surprisingly a good match. Johnny Gargano won the match via a distraction from Tommaso Ciampa, which then led to Gargano getting a roll-up pin with Johnny Gargano hugging the tights. Hold of the tights, basically. And Corey Graves was just all over this match. He was all over Johnny Gargano. Like, he did not let his feelings for Johnny Gargano. He ripped into Johnny Gargano all throughout this match. He was like, yeah, I've never liked this guy, probably never will, and this and that. Like, okay, Corey, I think we know how you feel about Johnny Gargano. I think we've known how you felt about Johnny Gargano even during their first run in NXT. When they were first in NXT as DIY, and when Corey Graves was a commentator down there, he didn't hide his feelings for DIY then. And so he still seems to have negative feelings towards Johnny Gargano, which actually, I think, added to the match a little bit. Then we get the main event, which was Bianca Belair and Naomi defending the women's tag team titles against Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I almost thought they were going to actually have Candice and Nia win the tag team titles. Like, I didn't know if they were going to actually have Nia and Candice win and have Bianca lose, and then have Naomi just in a bit of frustration just attack Bianca and then make it clear that, oh, she was the one who attacked. Oh, I'm the one that attacked Jade. Which I think is obvious. It's obvious that that's what's happening. They're going to reveal Naomi to be the one who really attacked Jade. But hey, I don't know. It is what it is. Match lasted about 12 minutes, which is good. And also Tiffany Stratton came out at one point, which obviously led to this. So the distraction from Tiffany Stratton actually allowed Bayley and Naomi to get the win, pinning Candice LeRae, which I guess was the right move considering Nia's still the women's champion. But hey, it is what it is. It was a good match. If I had to rate SmackDown this week, it wasn't a very good show. It was taped, if I'm not mistaken, but it wasn't a very good taped show. I rated a 6 out of 10 because we got some good moments. The opening segments, the Bloodline match was good. The main event match was good. And Johnny Gargano versus Alex Shelley was... Actually, no. Johnny Gargano versus Alex Shelley was good. Main event was good. The opener was good. But then everything else was just like... Oh, and Kevin Owens' video package message to the WWE Universe was good. But then everything else was just like, meh. So, hey, is what it is. But that is it for me. I'm going to sign off here, and I'm going to probably do my video immediately following this. It will upload tomorrow as a premiere, so feel free to watch that if you can. It's going to be at 6 p.m., so be there or be square. I will see you guys next time, and until next time, peace. Bye, guys.